roll with ya. We're my sisters, we got this sisters. You roll with me and I'll roll with ya. Substance. Sis, you know we on a mission, no games. Help each other get over some things. Build strength, bring change. Cause we've been through the rain. Now it's time to shine like blame. Let's talk about life skills. We building up our quality to right wills. We rolling out of poverty, love heals. So we become the prodigy of how a sistership could be a really hot commodity. Stand together, we united, hold hands. Support each other dreams and our plans. Doing everything we can. Just to show we understand the power of a friendship fam. Live life on purpose. Together we learn it. Yeah, let's talk. We don't want to see you hurt. And we here for each other, no matter the color. Networking, that's for sure and for certain. Come on, yeah, we on a sistership. Come with us, we on a sistership. Yeah, we on a sistership. Roll with us, we on a sistership. We're my sisters, we got this sisters. You roll with me and I'll roll with ya. We're my sisters, we got this sisters. You roll with me and I'll roll with ya.
Sistership, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. Sistership, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. Sistership, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. Sistership, we got this now. Come on, let's talk about it. We on a sistership.
Ooh, happy Sistership Sunday, y'all. How's everybody doing today? It is Sistership Sunday right here on Gynesis Radio every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My sisters, Lady Wisdom and Lady K, I'm so happy to have our sisters in the room. We have a great topic today to discuss. I'm sure it's going to touch you as it touches us because we experience this throughout our lives. But again, we want to welcome everybody to the Sistership Sunday edition. If you are out there in earshot of the Sistership network today, please make sure if you have any comments or questions, you call in at 888-304-4401. 888-304-4401. Again, I want to welcome Lady K.
Good afternoon, everyone. How is everybody doing today?
And she got purple on. That's my favorite color. I love that color purple, Lady K. Lady K. Oh man, Lady Wisdom. Lady Wisdom, how are you?
This is Sunday.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday. We worshiping today. We're gonna be talking a lot today about what's going on and what we experience and what you all are experiencing. Our journey, young to becoming, elders. Some of us are up there. Some of us are getting there. We start feeling this baggage of life, right? We start feeling with people and places and things and all these things that kind of get thrown into this bag, right? And we're carrying it with you. It's like a bag of rocks at some point in life. Because if we don't expel some of those things along the way, they become very heavy on us.
Absolutely.
So when we think about the subject today, it's about downsizing your life to increase your inner peace and harmony. And with that, it's reassessing and realigning the 3 F's in your life: family, friends, and foes. And I know we're going to be talking about foes too. So, when we think about this, family can become friends and friends can become foes and foes can end up becoming friends. It depends on what's going on and how we're assessing people in our lives. So let's talk about that for a minute. When we think about the challenges we go through in life, let's talk about some of the challenges that we've encountered in our lives and how we are looking at assessing those individuals or those things that are going on in our lives and how we create that inner peace and harmony. Because, that without having inner peace and harmony, there's sickness that comes from that.
Absolutely.
There's, emotional situations that we run into. And sometimes we get to the point of, exhaustion, mental exhaustion, and we try to do so much for other people without focusing on ourselves. But we got to start from home. We got to start with us, right? And I think a lot of us in this room, we take and we burden ourselves with all the things that are going on in our circles, right? And the people in our lives. So let's talk about some of the challenges that we feel we're going through in life or that have gone through in life. And how do we look to downsizing to get to that healthy place of harmony and peace?
Before we dive
Yeah.
into challenges, I think the really important thing is that you have to ask yourself, where are you at in this life? Like, where are you? Because we're all in different seasons. So what season in your life are you in? Because once you know what season that you're in, you can kind of determine what's needed. Because it's going to go based on your past experience and what you've been through, because you're not going to repeat those same choices because it becomes a choice. Remember, if it's repetitive, it becomes a choice. But once you're at that point, you're looking back like, you know what do I need in this season? And when I tell people what I need, are they obliging to it? Are they really hearing me? Are they really respecting me? Are they considering me? Because if you're dismissing me, I'm not going to look at you differently. I'm just going to leave you right there and keep it moving. So who can give that to me? Because I'm not going to argue with you because I don't argue with myself. So why would I argue with you? If I know what I want and I know it's requirement for me at this stage of my life because I desire it and I deserve it, that's all I want. And if you can't respect that, move out of my way.
Oh, move out of my way.
Yeah.
Well.
And that's how I feel.
That's deep. That's deep. But it's the truth, right? I mean, again, think about, you said seasons. When you go through different seasons, it's different stages of your life. What your needs and wants are, right? It's about your needs, not necessarily always about the wants. It's what's needed in your life. Sometimes people mix up, financial freedoms and, thinking that they're going to be okay if they're, financially wealthy. And let me tell you, wealthy people go through some challenges in life as well, right? Emotional challenges.
My favorite thing is the only thing that's great from us is the zeros in the bank account.
Thank you.
We go through the same crap.
Right.
But can I share an example of what I need about what I need? And I'm not debating with you. I remember at one point I was dating a gentleman, right? And I told him, I said, this is what I need. I would like a gentleman that can be a little bit open with me. Don't be afraid to be a little bit vulnerable, you know what I'm saying? Because you're going to speak your truth to how much you want to tell me. And I'm okay with that. But the gentleman kept telling me, well, my mom said it's better to show than to act. I said, listen, let me tell you something. Your mom is correct about you showing a woman about, that you mean well. But I'm telling you, yes, you can show it, but I also want you to be expressive because that's where I'm at in my life. That's what I need. But he kept reverting back to my mom and said, you know what? I sent his ass back to his mama. Okay? I don't have time to argue with you. But then I think a year later he understood the assignment, but it's too late, buddy. I wasn't going to sit down and wait for you until you get it, and I'm okay with that.
And you know what? Sometimes God puts. I'm laughing because message. By the way, this is some serious dialogue today. I love it because the truth, again, we at the sistership, we make sure we're real on certain topics or all topics because honestly, we, again, everybody's experiencing what we're experiencing, right? And it's about bringing those experiences to light and how we maneuver through those experiences to create that harmony and peace in our environments. And believe me, we're nowhere near perfect. None of us are perfect. We still go through things. However, it's how we work with one another and understand and associate ourselves with, individuals that help us to kind of come through these periods in our lives and understanding ourselves and what we need. Because it goes back to that season, right? Meaning of the season.
But it's about knowing that although you have gone through and the majority of people are going through something similar, they're not in the same place where you are.
Yes.
So basically, it took you, you didn't wake up knowing all of your boundaries and where to set them at. So when you eventually learn who you are and get to know you decide what you can and cannot tolerate. You decide what you will and will not do. You decide who and who will not be a part of your life. But everybody, even those people that you want, we tell our kids, you can't always have what you want. Sometimes our wants can deceive us. Right? Into doing and dealing with people. But toxicity is toxicity. Whether it's a family, a friend, or a foe that's producing it to you. So all I know is the lessons that I learned in my life and how I move in my life. I'm in a different stage of my journey than the next person. But I had to learn and understand that being me, it was okay. But I also know that I can't control how you feel, where you are, and how you move. But you also got to decide whether you're interested in fixing somebody. I'm not fixing anyone. Do I empathize and do I sympathize?
Yes.
I will. But will I fix you? It's beyond me to even think that I can. Everyone has been through some kind of tragedy, some kind of trauma, and some kind of childhood deception that we've had control over. But now that we're adults, it's up to us to make different choices. And understand, each time we make a choice, we got to deal with the consequence of the choice. Whether we like it, it's good. It could be good or it could be bad. It's just the consequence because now we're at a place where we have the opportunity to make a choice. Think about how someone whose back is up against the wall, they come out swinging down and slide down the wall. You either gonna take it or you gonna leave it. It's one way or the other.
That's I mean, you both brought up a great point and leads me back to where are you in your journey? What season are you in? What is it that you have experienced through life that either you want to continue to experience or you want to eliminate? And that goes back to this downsizing. What's important for you in your life that you're the wants and needs? And again, this is not about monetary. This is about peace and harmony within oneself, right? Because that leads to the whole point of, you're constantly stressed or, people getting on medication because of anxiety, right? I mean, I went through a period that I was like, damn, do I need some medication or some stuff to kind of bring me down? Because, you get into that place of anxiety because you're always trying to be something for somebody else. And I'm not saying that's everybody, but when we talk about downsizing and becoming healthy, we have to think of what we need for ourselves to be healthy.
But you got to know what you need.
Right.
But I think that was real what you said. He was like, do I need something to help me? That's a great observation because some people don't even think that far. They can be like, oh, well, it'll go away. They try to cover it up or put a band-aid on it. It's like, no, you really need to assess what do you need at that moment. You might need a medication. You might need some more marijuana. I'm just saying, whatever floats your boat. It's real talk.
No,
which one you want? You want to go the prescription way or the non-prescription way? Because they both got the effects. What do you need?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. But one thing that dawned on me that you said, you was like, for the person that has tried to fix, I try to think about where is that person at in their life when they're trying to fix people? Or they're in that stage where there's not an awareness. You know what I'm saying? Like, where are they at? Like, are they, I understand sometimes we're healers because I do believe some people are healers, but you have to use discernment. You have to know how to bring that healing. Like, you can, it's like that expression when they said you can drive a donkey to the water, but you can't make the donkey drink it. So you can give that person the education, but why are you forcing it? Yeah. Like, you can't force that upon them. They have to want that for themselves. So you can keep being that friend and you can keep nurturing them because maybe eventually they'll get it. Right. But it's not your job. And I think sometimes when we give information to people, we get mad. It's like, why are you getting mad? That's not your job. Once you understand, I am the person that just gives the information, I think you feel a lot better about yourself because you put so much stress on yourself because you're not getting it. And you start carrying resentment. Right. That's where resentment comes from because you have an expectation at that point that is not a realistic expectation of that individual, right? Because to your point, you can share, you can experience, you can talk to that person, but if they're not ready to receive it, or it could be the person or the message. And you said that in the past about person and message. I remember that in another conversation, Lady Wisdom, that sometimes it's the messenger and sometimes it's the messenger delivering the message. Right. And some people are just not ready at that point in time. So we have to think that, again, when we're talking about healing and harmony, resentment, you got to eliminate that. You got to start thinking about what it is that you're trying to communicate to that individual and understand that sometimes some people
people are in a place that are not ready, and it's okay. And you know what? They may not ever be ready, and they are not you.
Right.
But
They're not you. That might be their journey.
But that's one of the biggest problems right now is because we expect us in other people.
And other people.
That part.
So when they talk about the expectations that we put on people,
Right.
it's what do you, well, I would have, or I could have. A part of downsizing is knowing you can only control you.
Right.
Absolutely.
You can only control how you feel. You can only control your thoughts. You can only control what's going on in you. Right? I can't expect you to do what it is that I do because you are not me.
Mhm.
Downsize your
Yes.
ego. But sometimes people recognize this their ego. They always think this other person. I always say, I'm like, so you always think it's somebody else. It's never you. If you're in that mindset, something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Because even me sometimes, I'm like, was I right? And I said, you know, clearly it wasn't right. That wasn't right. You shouldn't have said it like that. That's not nice. Go back and apologize.
That's
And if you
observing.
can't apologize, then you got bigger issues than you think.
I have a young lady in my life. I'll use her and myself as an example. And I was watching her. And I literally have gotten up a couple of times to walk out of a room because of the way I was reacting to her actions and to her words. And I realized that, yes, although we have gone through some similar things, we deal with it differently.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, my thing is, for a very long time, I used to believe that if I can get through it, so can you. If I could do it that way, so can you.
Right.
I didn't realize until I started learning how to protect my peace, that my peace had a value that I couldn't put on you. Everybody can't afford the peace that I'm looking for. Right? So you got to really dig in you. So I had to, one day I sat her down and I had a conversation with her and I had to say, I was you. But it's not what you pour in the glass. You're upset with what's coming out of it. But you poured that into it.
Right.
So I had to say to her, sometimes we don't look at the storm somebody else might be going through. We just think the storm that we going through is tragic.
Right.
Right? So you take the example that is said, be your man's peace when he comes into the house. So it's a combination of how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
So you done went through some storms all day long. He's out in the world coming into the storms. You got to know when to leave it at the door.
Yes.
And I can't bombard you with all of my storms. Realizing that you had your own. And because you came home, we are energy feeling people. I say this all the time. You're going to decide how I'm going to act. So what you give me, I feed off of your energy. If you're negative, I'm coming back at you negative. I don't necessarily even realize that I'm coming to you negative because that's the energy that you brought into the room. So when you start learning that your peace is important and how priceless it really is, you have to decide who you're going to start pruning from your life. Everybody is not your friend.
Nope.
Even though they're family, at this stage in life, we decide who is family to us. Because you don't have to be my blood to treat me like family.
Absolutely. I just said we related by blood, but that don't mean you my family.
But we all supposed to be covered by the same blood.
I understand that
Now,
part
if
too.
we're not, then you also know why we respond to each other the way we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm going to aggravate those demons that you got coming out.
Right.
And if they're coming from me, I'm shutting them down.
Shutting them down. Yep.
Some people don't like that, you know.
And that's you. I mean, you made a good point because, again, because of we try to create a safe haven in our own family structures, right? We try to protect those sometimes in our family, even though they're giving us that negative energy or the demons that they're pushing these demons on you. We have to know when we have to say, you know what, enough is enough, and I need to pull back from this.
Right.
And it's okay. Like, I think people feel that because it's family, because it's blood, because you're related, that you have to. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is manage your peace and harmony. You don't have to entertain those demons.
No, no matter who they are. Your parents can be a toxicity too.
Yes.
They can be just as toxic as the outside world is, or even more because they're so close to you.
Right.
But just because you can love your family members from a distance.
Right.
As I got older, I learned the definition of family changed for me and who I decided who was my family. And just because you was my family, you couldn't say or do things that you felt like, I'm family. You can't say this about me. Or, I'm family. You can't do this about me. I used to walk through life trying to sugarcoat stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I learned that no matter how much I sugarcoated it, I needed to give you some salt. So I always learned to tell the truth. So I started raising my kids in that manner. I need the truth. Let me hurt for them few seconds that it might sting, but it's stinging because something checked in my spirit that I might not have been right about.
Right.
I don't know, and to this day, I really don't always have it. My tone can be so harsh.
Right.
And I wasn't aware of it. At some point, I had to learn to ask God and ask God to give me the ability to soften what it is that I was trying to say. So the pack that it hit, how it hit you, it hit you soft enough to receive it and understand it. For me to be so fucking brash.
Right.
Now, for certain people, that's what they come to me for. But I always got to remember, everybody deals with things differently.
Yeah.
So I got to always remember who I'm dealing with for my words to come. I always speak for the silent audience because I know what it's like not to have a voice. You know? And a part of that, sometimes you just want to get rid of your friends. Or you think they're your friends and they're not your friends. And you're scared to let it go.
Yeah.
Relationships with toxic people, you're afraid to let that go because you don't know how else to deal with it. Some people are volunteer victims in their lives now because they got so comfortable in that space that everybody felt sorry for you at this point. That's what you look for. You look for that.
You're looking for somebody to entertain.
Right. So if I'm always feeling bad for you because you went through something when you was 5 years old, you now 50, well, damn. Yeah. So nothing changed. So you still doing the same thing, right?
Right.
Definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Absolutely.
Nothing is changing for you. You're not healing. You're not growing. Because you like where you are, because it's giving you attention that you feel like you don't know how else to get.
That's a word. That's a word.
Right there.
That's
just that in itself.
That's a word.
It's nonsense.
You know, it's interesting you say that. So I also think of some of us retreat, right? When we're running through situations in our lives. You know, when we think about the people and we don't want to throw that, attention. I don't want to say even attention. It's just, sometimes we need to figure out what's going on ourselves and our mental state of mind and things of that nature. And we don't want to throw that or have somebody feel sorry or feel like, they need to do something, right?
Not only that, but sometimes somebody else, your realization is that everybody is going through something.
Yeah.
Why should I bring what I'm going through and put it on you?
Right.
I am one of those people that retreat.
Yeah.
I got to figure it out for me before I bring it to you, right? And that's the one thing I have. Most people that know me know that's what I'm going through something. You won't hear from me. You won't see me, and it's not because I don't care. It's because I got to figure out what I'm going through because it's taking me so much to hold. Right. I had this situation come a couple of years ago. I was in and out of the hospital. The first phone call I got from somebody that keeps screaming, "I'm your friend. I'm your friend." They felt like they needed to curse me out because I wasn't there for them. Never once asking me what I was going through.
Right.
So I'm the type of person, I cut you off without you not knowing. You won't even know. gonna back away from you. I'm gonna let you go. That's a part of pruning myself and learning how to protect my peace. So I'm gonna let you go. No matter how much you want to keep screaming, you my friend. That day that lady said what she felt, I told her I thanked her for expressing herself. And I gave you time to say what it was that you felt like you needed to say. And I'm so sorry that I made you feel in any other way than feeling like a person that you felt so harmed by my actions that you felt like you needed to say these kind of things to me. But I'm not angry with you.
Right.
You go ahead and you have a nice life.
You put them exactly where they
I'm
need to
okay.
be.
I'm okay with letting you go because that's one less person that I feel like I have to be concerned about or feel guilty because I felt certain ways or feel bad because I couldn't do for you. What I couldn't do for you, who offered to do it for me?
You know, it's interesting you say that because I think that's exactly where we start realizing the people in our lives who really belongs there and who really is, you've got to kind of just put them where they belong, right? And that's that pruning that again, downsizing your life from individuals and increasing that inner peace and harmony, because I shouldn't have to feel a certain way about what I'm going through by talking to, you telling me that, well, you shouldn't, you did this and that to me. Now you're projecting. Now you're telling me what you're feeling. However, you never even once thought about what I'm going through, right? And that's the give and take relationships and even marriages and any relationship. There's that give and take, right? That's understanding one another, understanding what everybody's going through, and kind of helping one another. When somebody's down, there's somebody there to kind of pick up the pieces and so on and so forth. It's a balancing act.
And that's what friendship is about.
And that's what friendship is about,
True friendship.
True friendship.
Absolutely.
And those are the people that I again say those are the foes, because to me it's, and again, you could agree or disagree. To me, that tells me you're not ready for this relationship.
That's right.
You're not ready.
Everything's all about you. Everything diverts back to them. It's like, really, you that damn selfish. Because sometimes you don't realize you might be that person. You know what I'm trying to say?
It can happen.
Sometimes it takes for another person to tell you about yourself to realize, oh shoot, I am that way. Oh, I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, but sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that wake up call. Sometimes it's necessary for certain things to manifest in your life. That you say, oh wow, that was nasty. I didn't realize I was like that. And again, it goes back. It's so easy for you to look at other people and see what their flaws is. But when you can't see yours, it's like, okay, so again, it goes back to what I said before. So you're perfect. You ain't dropped the ball. Like stop it, like you didn't drop. Because I realized, I'm like, damn, I dropped the ball. No wonder why X is pissed off at me. I really had to take that accountability. I took that L. It hurt, but at least I was in awareness, and I think that's what it's all about. You being in awareness. A lot of people, I had someone share this statistic with me, and they said about 15% of people are in awareness. 15%. That's a low number. So you're trying to tell me the rest of the 85% of people are not in awareness of themselves? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to go sit down somewhere. It's too much.
But but I mean, it's funny, but it's not. I mean, think about it. Like, and I agree with you, because sometimes I have to look at myself and say, Steph, you gotta, or somebody has to be honest and open with me and say, Steph, and it has to be the right messenger, the right message. Because I could be like, you know what, you need to back the hell up, because this is what I'm going through right now. But you're right. I mean, it has to be the right person to that you value and you love and you appreciate the truthfulness coming out of that individual, because sometimes we do need somebody to check us.
Right? Let's be aware of this though. We don't always know who the right messenger is until we're able to receive it. Like I couldn't walk up to you and say that I'm the right messenger to give you this message, but I might need to get it off my chest.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So.
Well, Lady Wisdom, you can come and talk. Just don't be brash with me.
I mean, if you're direct with me, I will receive it. And then based on your tone, I will receive it, because if you come at me crazy, then my guard is gonna go up.
That's exactly
but
my
it's how
point.
you approach me. But I do.
Right.
I respect directness. I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm direct.
Yeah.
I don't want to sugarcoat, and I don't want you to sugarcoat with me. So that's my language right there. That's
But
my love
again,
language.
that's your energy, right?
Right.
That's your energy. That's the
Right.
way. That's what feeds your body, your
Right.
soul, and how you deal with things. And everybody is not willing to give you what you need.
Absolutely.
They're not willing to give you what you want. And sometimes we can get away with not giving what you want. But if you can't give me what I need, it's a difference.
It's a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
about me knowing that I need this.
Right.
And nothing I have said or have done is helping you to see what it is or how you could be a part of that, fulfilling that need for me. I have to let you go.
Absolutely.
You know, it's I was having a conversation with Blaine yesterday, and you know, I started to kind of really look at my life over the last 2 years, right? And started saying I had to come to some realizations in my life of how I operate, who I let in my life, how I operate with those individuals. And I'll be honest with you, it was a smack in the face, even for me, because I had to hold myself accountable to certain things as well.
Right.
And say, you know what? I also have to think about, what do I need? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't always be that person for everybody else. I need to figure out who I need in my life that fulfills the needs I have, and that I can fulfill their needs as well.
Right.
That balance in the relationship, right?
Mhm.
Because you can't always take. There's a point where you have to also give. You know,
Absolutely.
and again, it doesn't necessarily, again, has nothing to do with money whatsoever. It has to do with that stability in balancing act that needs to happen from an emotional and mental state,
Right.
right? We have to be able to support. When we talk about support, let's talk about what real support is about, right? It's about a balancing act of supporting that person emotionally and giving them sometimes that time and space to do what they need to do and come back to you without you feeling resentful or angry because that person ain't around for you.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes they need that space.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that balancing act. And if people get negative and angry and upset and resentful because of that, guess what? They're not your friends. They're not your support system. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, again, when we talk about in your life and again trying to create peace and harmony, we all need peace and harmony. Let's be real. Everybody in this world needs peace and harmony, and we're in a really bad, tumultuous time. And, you know, so much is going on, and there's so much ugliness out there, and how we treat people every day. Walking into a room and talking to people certain ways because we started getting real comfortable,
right?
Because social media was, you know, that constant, you know, tapping the fingernails on the keys, and now we started reverting that to outside relationships in a physical form, right in front of somebody's face. We've been very bold and open about how we operate.
Yeah, behind the keyboard bullies.
Exactly, and now we're coming off the keyboard and doing that in day-to-day life. And we don't realize what everybody's going through in life. Everybody's got something they got going on in life. And we have to be very, real careful and vigilant also on how we operate. Because what we want, we should be giving to others as well.
Absolutely.
You know?
That's the law of attraction. What you put out, you
receive.
And vice versa. Yeah, that's important.
You know, and I say, you know, there's certain things that when I go through certain things in life or I see people are running into challenges, I said sometimes you have to just have faith and give it to God, and what you can't control, you got to just let it, put it out in the universe and pray on it and whatever have you. And, you know, we've had to have some situations recently of people just praying, come together and praying. And I said, you know, I just need some time, but all I need is somebody to pray. That's all. I don't need nothing else.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I think sometimes it's like you said, you had a friend, right? You're going through their issue, they're going through their issue. You're trying to speak to them, but it's not getting through. I think the first thing you should do is take it to God, you know, pray on their behalf, because, you know, you're at a standpoint where you don't know what to do.
Right.
They ain't listening to you, and maybe it's not their business to. Maybe your job is just to take it to the Father. And I don't think enough people do that. People don't realize how much I intercede on their behalf, because I'm like, all right, cool, this is not my battle right here. But I keep that quiet because that's just between me and God. Right. You have no idea that some of the stuff that He exposed me to people that I don't even talk to or do it like that. But it was what, and I interceded. And I'm like, yeah, I have no idea, but that's between me and God.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
But then I'm still here in your corner.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's
Right.
that people need to understand, and I think that's the other thing is that sometimes when people revert or move, like you said, sometimes I need to just figure it out myself, right? Until I'm ready to kind of come to somebody. And I think sometimes sometimes if we do that and we pull back from people, or we can't reach somebody, we're afraid that person might need that support and just not calling on somebody. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes we take a lot of responsibility for other people's pain and issues and things of that nature, because some of us have that spirit of wanting to heal others, and we take that as our responsibility. We have to do something. Sometimes it's just allowing that space and time and just maybe say, hey, I'm just thinking about you.
Yes, that part right there.
When I have people text me and say, I'm just thinking about you, I appreciate that more than calling me and trying to figure out, well, what's going on? And I honestly, I just need time to just figure it out myself. Like, I'm not ready to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So again, those people that you have in your lives that really truly value the friendship and the relationship in your life have to be those type of people. What do you need? And that's what you should be looking for. And then all the other people in your life, to me, I consider them just associates. They're not truly necessarily people that I want, I'll be talking to on a regular basis or having a relationship from that aspect, right? Have my heart and have my spirit. There are relationships out there. We have relationships with many different people, but they're associates in my life. They're not necessarily my friend,
It's funny that you said that, because when I had certain deaths that happened in my family, it really showed me who was my people, who wasn't, and those who I thought wasn't, and those who, and the vice versa. And I was like, wow, like you knew what I was going through. You can say, hey, Kalima, how you doing? How you feeling?
Yeah.
Nothing. But and you've been in my circle for a minute, and it's like, okay, cool. I'm not mad at you. I just know where to place you at now.
Yeah,
that was a big eye opener. So, like you said, it's all about the experience.
Right.
The experience will expose people true intention. You just gotta know how to place it. And sometimes over the years, it changes. That person go in that category, and that person go in another.
Yeah. And that's what goes back to this whole foe and friend, because there's foes that you think are foes, and guess what? They could actually be the people that actually become that person in your life that you needed.
And sometimes the ones that you don't pay attention to, those are the ones who got your back. But the ones that you're focusing on, they ain't about you. I had to learn that too.
Sometimes it's loud and saying nothing.
Right. And it's like, wow, you know what? And I said this to myself, I said, you know what? Pay attention to that person that's paying to you. Give back to something, because look how they're paying to you. And they're showing up for you. So I said, no, give that back. The other ones, they can go to the side. Give it back. That's the most important thing. When you recognize and you nurture it, it's like wonderful. If you don't, you're still getting it. You don't get it yet. And that's why sometimes things repeat itself until you finally get it.
Yeah. It becomes a habit.
Yes.
Right? Because again, that's what you
I'm
know.
a test too. It's a test.
Yeah.
Are you paying attention? Are you really watching? Are you discerning? And I think that's the key thing, discerning. People don't have to give up discernment.
But some people don't have common sense. So,
That's a whole other show topic. Like, where's your common sense? Like, somebody tried to come at me today, and I bounced right back. Have several seats, sir. You don't even know me. The hell? Don't get me started.
Oh my God! This is
It's not so common anymore.
It's not.
Oh, this is the sistership. This is sistership raw right here. This is sistership raw Sunday. But no, it's necessary. I mean, we have to have these conversations. Again, 888-304-4401 if you're interested in commenting or questions or even challenging. Come on at us at 888-304-4401. So how do you I start this whole downsizing. Sometimes it's difficult.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you feel the more people you have around you, the more support you have. So How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you manage that?
Well, me, like I said, I always had a small circle. I was very big on the intimacy. I was always based on quality, not quantity. That was always my number one thing. So I'm looking at where's the quality. Oh, I like that quality. Quality is good. Okay, I'm keeping it right there. I don't need to be around people. I don't need all that. That's the thing too. Yeah. Like you said, with basically, I don't need that. I just need to go close one to say, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Like I appreciate y'all guys when I had COVID. Hey, what you need? I got that too. And I don't even know if you realize something that you're doing. I still have it and I love it. And I'm like, yo, she has no idea that meant so much to me. You know what I'm saying? Those little sentiment bios that means much to me. I don't care about anything. Those little things. That's what I like. I appreciate the little things because I do so much. I'm a person that does active service, so I would love to receive it back. So sometimes, like you said before, sometimes people are not going to open their mouth and say stuff, but when you know who they are, you just gotta give it back because you know they ain't gonna open their mouth. Let me just do this.
You just reminded me of something. Love language.
Most givers
have
a very hard time receiving.
Sometimes.
But you know what? It goes back to love language. Think about it. And love doesn't have to be necessarily about partners, right? Relationships are love languages. Like those true relationships. What I do for you, I may not ask for it back. But that's what I need too. Because I'm doing for you because I may need that. You know what I'm saying? You have to realize that sometimes as well. It's the love language. You know, how people show their love and appreciation for folks is what they also want in return, but they just don't tell you that.
Right.
They don't tell you that. But that's a love language.
But that's also you paying attention too.
Right.
You gotta pay attention.
Being attentive to people, you know, watching people. Like that's the gift. One of the gifts about my mom, I give it to my mom because she has that gift of watching people and observing, and I do that the same. I watch people. I just watch. Like I have to watch people because I'm trying to figure out who they are, who they really are. Sometimes, like I'm trying to understand who they are, and I guess I take in a lot of people's emotions and things of that nature sometimes. Like I do that with my husband. Like whatever he's feeling, I'm feeling it too. And sometimes I have to pull myself out and say, okay, he needs some support, but I can't smother. I don't want to smother, right? I just want to be there as a support system to know that, and he knows I'm there, I'm going to make sure I'm there. Same with my family, same, with people in my life. But again, I think it goes back to what you were saying as far as how you've already established a situation where you have a small subset of individuals that you keep close and tight because that's how you always done it. But there's people that feel that they need abundance means something. And abundance doesn't mean anything. You know what is abundant? What's in your heart and the people that are around you that are giving you exactly what you need and you're giving them the exact same thing. That's abundance.
I gotta say this, right? So I recently changed my phone number, right? And those who I know who I want to be in my circle, I actually sent them a text number. This is my new number. For those who didn't get it, I don't care.
Message.
And if you really want to find me, you'll find me. You feel me? Because somebody was looking for me and they hit me up on my shirt. Hey, I tried to hit you. Okay, cool. I know people searching for me. Here you go. Because if you don't ask, I ain't getting it. Message. So, and I think sometimes we hold on to something at first. I didn't want to give up that number. I'm like, this number. And I'm like, you know what? There's too many people who got that damn number. Nah, let it go, Rima. Get you a new number. And those who's in your circle or you want them to have your number, give it. Or just have to find me.
But you know what you just showed? You just proved what you did to downsize.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
To give it to those who really matter that you feel are exactly what you need in your life, right? So that's a level of downsizing, right? The baggage.
2002, there was a person that from my past, they just came back into my life. I just realized, I was like, I don't want you back in my circle. So I
make that decision.
I just declined their friendship on Facebook. It's like, I just don't have it.
Yeah.
I'm move on. Nothing against you. I hope the best for you. I wish the best for you. I just don't want you at this stage of my life. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also watched too how you deal with me. How you deal with me says everything how you feel about me. So if I felt you dealt with me in a certain way, there's no love lost. I just got my eye open now. I love you with love stay over on that, and I'm good over here.
Eyes wide open. Eyes wide open. Eyes wide open.
Why are you laughing at me, Sherry?
Lady was like, she got a whole messages going on today.
Listen, y'all said deliverance. I'm downside.
Deliverance,
I'm
deliverance.
downside a lot.
You know, again, we think about abundance again and things and people, you know, having more is, you know, is better. Having the right things is better. You know, I think about, again, in my job, we do Lean Six Sigma, right? We're always looking at improvement and, you know, streamlining and things of that nature. The best output with less, you know, doing less, you know, doing less, but getting more out of it, right?
Right.
And, you know, when you think about that, it's in every aspect of your life. What truly work smarter, not harder, right? You know, and that is even in your personal life. Be smart about the choices that you make, about the people that surround you and love you and care about you and show and prove. And again, it's all in the love language that you have for yourself and what you give to others that you're receiving as well. And again, sometimes those individuals are going through their own things and we have to give them grace. You know, we can't always expect somebody's going to give you something when you want it. You know what I'm saying? Because at times they might be going through some stuff that they need to deal with. They're not telling you about, you know, because they need to work through it. So we have to give some people grace, but we have to also understand there's consistency in how people operate, right? You'll see the patterns of how people operate. If you really are invested in someone and are learning someone and associated with someone, you start seeing patterns. And you have to be very vigilant in looking at that pattern to understand whether that person is right or wrong in your life, you know? But as far as downsizing, Lady Wisdom, I know you keep a lot of people like just real tight close. You're not like this, you know, this abundance that is needed for you. How do you just hold yourself grounded? How do you hold yourself grounded? I feel like there's a storm coming right now. You heard it? That was God talking. He was like, "There's a storm coming." Like he was about to put it out.
I don't know. It's just for me. Everybody's not going where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't have the vision that I have.
Mm-hmm.
When God gave me a vision, it was my vision. It wasn't for me, you, and others. It was for me. It's the vision that God has for my life. So I had to learn that you can't necessarily see what I see because you're not me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I also learned how I go places and people say, you stay quiet a lot. You just observing everything. I need to know what's going on around me. But if I'm always talking, I'm not listening. If I'm always into something, I can't see what's going on around me, right? And the one saying that Maya Angelou has said and put out there, when someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be quiet and listen and see you for who you are. The problem is some people think the louder they are, the more boisterous they are, the more right they are, the more they should be seen, the more they should be heard. I'd rather blend into a wall and be able to be in your conversation without you hearing my voice. I don't have, my opinion doesn't matter for everything and everybody, and everything is not for me to have an opinion on.
Mm-hmm.
So once I learned that, when I was a kid, as a child, you needed to be seen but not heard.
Yeah,
Right.
There was times that I was so quiet, I'd sit in the room and they would chase all the other kids out the room, but I'd be sitting there and nobody would chase me out. I would be able to know everything that was going on because I also wasn't that person that was going to go running around either.
Right.
My mother taught me a long time ago, what stays in the four corners of this room is what's going on in this room.
Absolutely.
Is it tragic? Is it destructive? Is it devastating? Is it harmful? I'm not keeping that a secret. I did for many years.
Right.
But things that wasn't my business, I didn't share that.
That's discernment.
I did not share that. It wasn't my place. So for me, I'm very tight knit. If I let you in, trust and believe. It's something about you that I care about. I don't necessarily have to speak to you every day. I don't even need to see. But when you see me, hear from me, know it's because I needed that time to take care of me. But I needed to know that I needed that time to take care of me. So first, in order to be able to get rid of and downsize and prune, I had to know who I was. I needed to know how it was to be in my own company, to hear my own voice, to be able to see myself in my movements and what was it that I was doing and how was I responding and how I was reacting. Because every action causes a reaction.
Absolutely.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, positive or negative. And when I started learning out who Sherry is, it made a major difference in my life on how I started protecting my peace at all costs. So if I had to let go of some friends and some family,
So be it.
so be it.
So be it. And you have to be okay with that. That's what I think people sometimes are concerned about. You have to be okay with that. You have to come to the realization that not everybody is for you. Family, friends, foes, whatever. Not everybody is going to be for you. But those that are, those are the people. Those are your circle. Those are the people that you trust. And trust and know that they're going to protect your heart and protect you. You know?
Success is the key to protect your heart.
Yeah.
That right there matters. Because I told you a lot, like how they manage and deal with you. That's so much value. That is something that a quality a lot of people oversee.
Yeah.
That they got to be mindful of that because that shows you a person's intention.
Yeah. And there's consistency. There has to be consistency of that because some people they might do that just to get in,
right, and they're not consistent.
and not consistent with it, right? So again, it's the consistency on every time they're around you or with you, or working with whatever it is. They're consistent in their actions because there are false prophets out there. Let's talk about it, right? And they do that because they want to get in, and then eventually that is going to fade away because they got what they wanted.
Well, that's because you was into whoever they were speaking to.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want to hear a feel-good message.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want you to tell them what's going to be so great about what's going on in their lives. So what a lot of people don't know, there's several kind of prophets out there. And true prophets know a true prophet, right? Test the spirit by the spirit. You don't know somebody by the fruit that they bear, right? So you telling me something that's general and you telling me something that you heard about me, it's not you prophesying to me, right? It really isn't. But I know that, and I know that there's a difference. Everybody's not going to know it. Everybody's not going to be able to feel it. Everybody's not going to be able to discern. Everybody's not going to be able to do the things that I have done or been through or lived and been able to attend it. Right? So in that, I learned how to be in my space. I learned that my mental health has to be protected just as well as my peace and my physical health has to be protected. And how do you do that? Sometimes, of course, it has no choice. You have no choice but to downsize and allow people or things or places, especially the past, not to keep infiltrating and taking away that peace that you be looking for. Because I know the peace that I need now, it wasn't the same peace I needed when I was 25.
Right.
But it's a different kind of peace, and I want to continue to work to keep it protected.
It's funny that you said it because I was thinking about that. I said you have to know what your peace looks like. What does that look like for you? You know.
And it's that season that you're in, right? It goes back to the season that you're in and what you need, based on all your experiences. So again, you're carrying all this luggage and all these things you're throwing into that bag from the time you're young to the, older, and what you've not done, if you continue to just build and build and build, and you're not taking stuff out so that it's fitting appropriately and not overweight, because again, it costs you. Go to the airport, and I'm saying that for a specific reason. It's going to cost you. So you want to make sure that what you're taking in, you're also releasing what you don't need.
Right. And when absolutely. You do release, that's going to allow you to go into the next season. Like me personally, my mindset right now is I'm preparing myself for my husband. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to prepare myself for my husband, I want to be around people who are married, who have positive images about marriage, who speaks about conflict resolution. I don't want to be around nobody who talking about gender. I don't have time for that. I need
about
to tell
what?
me gender war. You know what? Oh, he does that. She does this. And
God,
I don't have time for that. I need you to tell me, how should I prepare myself for my husband? How should I speak to my husband? How should I be? I want to be in that circle. That's right. Lady K is single and available, but I ain't taking no nonsense either. But I'm available.
She's downsizing that package.
I downsize who I want to be with, right? Who I want to rock with, and who I should shift into because of where I'm headed. So if you have more experience in that area, of course, I want to gravitate to it. And I see that lately. I see that where I'm gravitating is the people that's doing the work in that area. I'm shifting towards them. And that's where I'm headed.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that going independent. You can have that single independent mindset. I'm shifting.
Yeah.
And that's the
sometimes you have to have a balance in who you're around too.
Absolutely.
Because every relationship that looks happy isn't
always happy. Yeah. And this is the thing. Don't get it twisted, y'all. I mean, married couples, marriages is work. You know what I'm saying? So there's not, but to your point, it's that conflict resolution. How do you operate to be healthy?
That's exactly. I don't glorify nobody's relationship because I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Like I said, I'm looking for conflict resolutions. I'm looking for those skill sets. So I already experienced some of this stuff, so I do have it, but I don't know everything. Teach me. I want to know. Pour into me. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at. That's where my mindset is at. So that's why I said I'm just shifting. And also too, you have to know who you can speak to, who you can talk to, who to get what type of information from, because everybody can't give you that, because it's like, I don't even know what that looks like. You a hot ass mess yourself. No, thank you.
So let's make sure we're only filling the bag up with the right people to give
the right information. Because like I said, you know who to have certain conversations.
No, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, that's part of the time. Nothing you paying attention. Like if you've been married for 20 plus years, I want to speak to you because I know you've been through some stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's about that. It's about like, how do you get through those problems?
Yeah.
How do you do that? That's challenging. And the biggest thing is that people evolve while they're in the marriage.
Yes, they do.
So it's like, wow, when one person's behind him, how do you do that? That's important to know how to handle your emotions. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people be jealous of this, but that's a whole other conversation. Because it's like, wow, you're there, you're happy without me. How did you get to that space and you're happy without me? Because this is an individual journey. First, you got to be happy with yourself first, right? And then you're a plus.
You're a plus.
You know what I'm trying to say? So why are you determining, why I'm happy? Like you should be happy for me. But like I said, that's a whole other.
But you know what?
But I just had to throw that in because this is what people go through in relationships. They go through real stuff, real people things.
Yeah. But that goes back to, again, knowing what's right for you. Right? Because relationships are even inclusive of marriage. Right. And sometimes you got to downsize that situation too. I mean, it's the reality. I mean, if you're not happy, you're not getting, there's no, again, balance in that situation. Are you really getting, is it a fruitful relationship?
But that's why it's important to vet.
Relationships have highs and lows.
They do.
The bottom line is we are a microwave minute world.
That part.
Everything, we expect everything to be happy and always on the upside.
Right.
The problem is people don't know how to work. Right. If you look at society right now, you have a lot of people that don't want to work.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to work their way up. Relationships that evolve, not grow. So you have to remind yourself that when you're in a relationship, you need to be growing together.
Yes.
Not evolving on your own.
Right.
So and everybody's not going to be where you need them to be, and you can be in a long-term relationship, but because you've been so boggled down with being in a relationship, you didn't know who you were, and eventually they have grown up without you.
Yep. And that's why I say vetting is important.
And assessing who you are and assessing who that person is for you.
Absolutely.
You know, again, and to your point, you're right. I mean, if you're creating an independent situation where you're not growing together, you're not helping the situation either.
Well, that's because a lot of people are not taught how to make things work out.
Yeah, I was about to say
They had I just read an article about Method Man. He is on as hell.
Yes, he
Let me
is.
say that.
He grew
And I
up.
tip my hat goes off to his wife. But they asked him, how was he able to keep his relationship with his wife for so long? And it was about keeping it private. And if you look at the most relationships that have lasted and have longevity are the ones that are not so public.
Yes.
The ones that are
It's true.
kept private.
It's true.
And whatever traumas and situations they might go through and all of the things that they might experience, the world is not a part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the world's opinions and judgments and all of that is not affecting them to affect their relationship.
That's the truth.
So if you look at it that way, then I need to see what you're doing so I know what not to do, and I need to see what you're doing so I can know what to do.
Right.
And that's part of downsizing your life too, is getting everybody out of your business. Your business. But with that said, I love this conversation today. Man, we got to come back for some more of this. But with that said, I want to wish y'all a happy Sunday. This is your girl Stephia with Lady K and Lady Wisdom on Downsize Your Life, Increase Your Inner Peace and Harmony, Reassess and Realign the 3 F's in your life: family, friends, and folks. With that said, hope you enjoyed today. We'll talk to you next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Gynesis Radio. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a happy Sistership Sunday. Peace.
Bye.